Roll call.
Parker. Here. Miscelinich. Olson.
Here.
Zittergruen.
Here.
Jizzle. Whittle.
Here.
Neal.
Here.
Okay. Is there anybody that wishes to approach the council at this time during public comment? Come up to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
My name's Sam Snellich. I work for the Decorah.
Can you bring the speak?
Does that work?
And if you lift the podium up and put it on the ledge, there you go. There you go.
Awesome. My name's Sam Snellich. I work for the Decorah Police Department. I've been working this last year with the Elks and a few others regarding the Cops and Marauders car show that we put on. This is going to be our 5th car show. The date that we have set is May 16th of 2025. Officer Yanef has applied for a permit. He's also talked to the Chamber of Commerce regarding this. We no longer have a K-9, so the funds that we receive from this car show is going to be going to Iowa Cops, Concerns of Police Officers. It's a nonprofit to support families of those who die in the line of duty. So I'm just kind of filling you guys in on that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Is
that.
that Mother's Day weekend or not?
That's right.
Is it Mother's Day weekend?
May 16th?
Yeah.
I don't.
Weekend after. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing, seeing none. City manager report.
Yeah, 2 things. One, I do want to, with this past weekend, thank the street department, water department, and parks department. Did a phenomenal job with about the 12 inches of snow that we received. I'll admit I did do a bit of driving around town, largely to make sure I was parked off. I wasn't parked on the street so the snowplow could hit my side, but drove around town, took a first-hand look at their work, and I thought they did an excellent job. So kudos to them. In addition, I did go up to the Board of Supervisors this morning to thank them for their contribution to the Decorah Athletic Complex and make them aware that we were awarded the CAC grant for $1 million. And during that conversation, it was actually brought up to me that they wanted the city's help in trying to find a new location for the recycle bins as the school project gets set to move forward this March. And so just putting it on council's radar, we've lightly touched on this subject before. I know the Sustainability Commission is looking at curbside collection process and what that might look for Decorah. And so know that there will be future conversations coming probably sooner rather than later, including that potential. That's all I have.
Did you clear up the comment of river pollution?
I did not bring that up directly.
Okay.
But I did do a social media post about the wastewater treatment plant effluent, and I'll take a drink of our wastewater treatment plant effluent before I take a drink out of the Upper Iowa River upstream from it any day.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Carrie.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Should we start down with Emily tonight?
You said you wouldn't.
Oh, no, I said I wouldn't. I'll go back this way.
Yeah.
Brent.
I have nothing tonight.
Kirsten.
I just want to echo what Travis said. Thanks to the street department and the park rec guys for getting out there and getting everything cleared off. Great job. I know I do the walk along the bike trail and then up on the Ice Cave Road there and stuff like that. That was all cleared off perfectly, so great job, guys. And the streets look good too, so I appreciate that. Thanksgiving Day, I did help with the Thanksgiving community dinner. It went excellent. I think we served about 360 meals in total. I think 127 were delivered. 57 came in and picked up. I know the fire department does every year. They come in and pick up, and they have their families come over and stuff like that. So it went really, really well, and thanks everybody that helped out with that. I think this is the 37th year they've been doing it, so keep it up, folks. Appreciate it.
Okay. Steve.
Nothing tonight.
Randy.
The only thing I want to bring up, Mike and I kind of touched on it earlier this evening with the snow removal. They do a really good job and get the streets cleaned timely. The people then that push out after we've already cleaned the streets We need to come up with a solution to that, so we're not going back and double working the same areas. I don't know if we'd put that into a work session or want to sit down with John and come up with some kind of policy, because once we get a street or an alley pushed into the middle and we have the blowers go through with the trucks and clean it, it's not fair to make the guys go back and redo it.
Is that where like they come through, clean the street,
Like,
and then a person
I'm gonna
does the
pick up-
driveway and then they put that in the
Like
middle?
our College Drive, where the businesses push it out into the street.
Okay,
And then we go down with a blower and the dump trucks and clean it. And then a business will come after it's all done and push it out into the street
Okay.
again. That's just not fair to our guys who are already busting their tails to get it done right the first time, to have to go back. We need to come up with a solution so we stop that habit.
I appreciate that.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cody?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Mike O'Hara with Public Works and specifically the wastewater treatment facility. I got to tour that a couple Fridays ago and was just blown away and super excited and impressed by the whole system. Learning so much about the process, and it's something that typically people don't think about what happens to our waste when we flush it down the toilet, and it's on the surface it's kind of a gross topic, but when you dive into the process and the fact that they can save methane from the process and use that to burn and heat the building, the learning about the microbiology, microorganisms that break everything down, and how closely they pay attention to the health of that system. Learning about one of the final processes when able to use it, the infrared, the light exposure that kills off almost all of the remaining bacteria, anything like that. It's just really exciting, and Mike takes his job very seriously and does a great job, and I was just really excited to have him there to explain to me what is happening, and also to have him in the position to do such good work. And I feel like it's my job, or our job now, to just explain to people how incredible our system is and how grateful we should be for it. So. And just touching on, I'd like to defend the wastewater also with local officials making claims that we are the largest polluter to the upper Iowa. It's just it's unfortunate that claims can be made that people believe when it really just shines a light on how little the person making the claim understands about the process. And I would encourage anyone who doesn't understand the process to go and get a tour and get a walkthrough, because it's really impressive. And I just total gratitude goes to Mike for the work that he's done, and also the staff that works with him. So that's what I have.
Emily?
My heart was full of gratitude too, and I want to echo my colleagues on council's sentiments towards the streets department. To Mike at the wastewater treatment plant, to the fire department, to the water department, to all of our departments, administration for the holiday, and all the great work that happens here at the city. And then also just a public service reminder to check your fire alarms and your carbon monoxide warning indicators in your house to make sure they're working this winter. And as the holiday season is here and clearly winter is here, just reminding everyone to stay safe on the roads, and happy to be here in this place and this time. So thanks.
Thank you.
I said infrared, but it's ultraviolet that we use.
Okay, 60% review of Decorah 2026 Hively Street Improvement Phase 2 project presented by MSA. Just state your name and,
Everyone hear me all right?
yep.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here tonight. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving holiday and was able to travel safely through the crazy weather we had over the weekend. But again, I'm James Waters, project manager with MSA, and I'm here to present 60 to 75% plans here for you guys today. Just to recap, I met with you guys back in September, I believe, early September, to go over the 30% plans. I would say the plans that you guys are seeing here today, not a whole heck of a lot has changed in terms of, moving the road, up and down, or north, south, east, or west. It's largely remained the same. We've spent the time kind of refining some of the details that we talked about in September, and that's what I'll go through here tonight. So what Travis has got up on the screen here is just kind of the main overview page of the current plan set, and I've got highlighted 8 items that I'd just like to focus in for you guys here today. And as I go through any of this, please jump in, pause, and if you have any other comments. But really, like I said, eight spots here I'll go through here in a little bit in greater detail, but this kind of just gives you an overview of what I'd like to talk about tonight. Starting with one, we're going to which is basically shown on that page, is just we've got the plans for the school's site plan in there right now. I understand there's been a revised set of plans that were sent just before the holidays, so we'll be working with the school district's design team. Tomorrow morning we've got a meeting with them to discuss some of the storm sewer on their site and how it connects in with our project's plans for the storm sewer along Hively Street there. So main takeaway, design is still continuing here, and coordination is still progressing along. Number 2 there, I know there was some discussion, I think back in November when Travis maybe gave a little bit of a sneak preview here on what I'm going to be talking about, but there was agreements to connect that sidewalk on kind of that southeast corner of River Street and Hively Street there. That wasn't shown in the 60% plans. We were looking for council direction on that, and it looks like we did get that direction. So just wanted to confirm and let you guys know that is now in the plan set. Which will be good. It'll give full connectivity on that side of the street from Main Street east to State Street. Moving along to number 3, I believe here, if you want to go, that'll be the kind of the detour actually, or just kind of the plan set for the detour route during construction. Travis, if maybe you want to go to JO3, I believe. There's a lot of extraneous plans in there that, for you guys, but I did want to make sure it was all in there in case you guys had any questions. But really what this sheet will demonstrate is really kind of the full project extents and what we're looking at for a detour during construction. Right now, we're planning to basically close it from just in front of the fire department in City Hall here, all the way to State Street, and then that's kind of what we have for a detour route at the moment. So did want to bring that to council's attention here tonight. That's the plan here as it currently sits, and we'll have the requisite signs and sidewalk closures and detours in place during construction. All right, maybe let's go to MO3, I believe, Travis, and I know I don't have a number on this, but this is, that page right there. So just to highlight a little more on this one, really just that main storm sewer connection at Court going north across into the school site. Just wanted to highlight here is where we'll be talking with the school's design team to make sure we're coordinating that storm sewer replacement. I know there's a desire to get kind of a consistent slope on the pipe from where our project starts all the way through their site, and then as it empties across Claiborne into that storm sewer pond. So again, that'll be more to come tomorrow morning on that. Right. How about MSA03, Travis?
Can I ask a question about that pipe?
Sure.
Are we replacing that pipe on Hively? Or is it just coordinating what the existing pipe is with the school pipe?
We will be replacing it.
Is there any way to get a steeper grade on our pipe as it goes through their site?
So that's what we're gonna meet tomorrow on to see
Okay.
if we can, because I know, I believe in their plans, they maybe were leaving a portion of it as existing, but
Right.
what we're hoping to do is coordinate what we're going to replace on our project that's going to start in kind of that Day Spring Lane parking lot, and then as it progresses across, just to get that consistent slope is what we'll be talking about tomorrow morning, so.
Okay.
I know when we met with them as well, they talked about using a pipe that had a smoother lining on the inside or something like that. Is that something we can do to incorporate that in with the one that they have as well? Is that?
Yeah, we can talk about the types of pipe that they plan to use. I know right now, I believe it's an HDPE on their site, and then what we're proposing here would be a RCP, kind of more the smoother wall there.
Okay,
So we'll be having that discussion tomorrow morning.
thanks.
Yeah. All right, sanitary sewer, so MSA 03, I believe, Travis, if you want to cycle to that one, that should show our sanitary. And really the main thing here is, I believe this was discussed back in September, but we were really kind of trying to figure out the best place for this new manhole here. We looked at, is it going to be kind of more at the base of that hill to the west of State Street? How's it going to interact with the school's site plan? And ultimately, after talking with John and others in the city, we landed on a new manhole over here in that parking lot east of State Street. This allows a lot easier access for city staff to get into the sanitary manhole system for maintenance, rather than having to lug equipment and pipes and other things down that hill if that manhole would be located kind of at the bottom of that inslope west of State Street. So a little bit of an additional portion here that wasn't in the 30% plans, but this will be a new addition here.
This will also give us better access to the sanitary as it runs under state, which is 20+ feet under State Street.
Yeah. If you kind of pan down a little bit there, Travis, you can kind of see the grade difference where that manhole could have been at the bottom there, or the other option would be to have it up on State Street for easier access, but then you're talking 20+ foot deep manhole, which is more expensive and tougher to maintain. So after talking with city staff, we landed with the additional manhole to the east. All right, let's go to U01, Travis. Yeah, I have a bunch of soil boring logs if anyone wants to look at those, but
Utility pages aren't at the front, are they?
oh yeah, there you go. You cycle
Oh,
back a
there it
little
is.
bit, right there. Okay, so really what I wanted to pause and highlight here is, and I know in our discussions in September, Steve, you brought up the question of, what is the best use for green, some of that green paint to really highlight the differences of a bike lane and really just call out to the different users in this area, whether it's motorized or non-motorized. So what I wanted to highlight there is what we plan to do, or I'm offering up for discussion, I suppose, is to add something similar to what is shown there with the green paint, the bike symbol, and the arrow, just to delineate for the motorized traffic that, hey, this is a bike lane. Bikes will be entering and exiting at this location, just to bring greater attention to that interaction that could be in play. Now, again, that our project ends here on River Street, and this would give the city an opportunity to maybe take a striped on-street striped bike lane further south towards Water Street in the future. But that's what we're looking to install there. All right. How about let's move to.
If you don't mind, James,
Yeah.
maybe we'll pause there. Just general consensus, liking the green paint to indicate for both bicyclists and motorists that this is the expectation here. And again, as a reminder to council and those present, bicycles are actually prohibited on sidewalks in the C3 district, so we need them to be on the street as they enter Water Street. So So that's why we're trying to transition them off of the 10-foot wide shared pass onto the street at this location. Overall, a lot of head nodding, yes?
I think it looks
All right.
great, yep.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right, let's, I think maybe just the next page did just want to highlight, and then we'll have a green crossing as well up on Goose Island as well, just for that bike crossing as well, so. I think, Travis, if you want to go, yeah, okay, next sheet here, number 6, just wanted to pause on this. At this point, what we're showing here is a standard at-grade crossing for the pedestrians here, coming down Court Street or westbound on the south side of Hively there. And what the plan is to install an RFB beacon, a flashing beacon that can be push-button activated for pedestrians and school users as they cross the street here. Travis, if you want to go to the next page, I've got kind of a detail shown there on just, I think everyone is fairly familiar with these on what they look like, but that's what the plan is there for an enhanced pedestrian crossing treatment there. And again, that can be pole-mounted, push activated, or they can be kind of the standalone smaller pedestals if needed, but that's what would be planned for that crossing there. And then, Travis, if you want to go to U04, I believe. Okay. So just to pause here, I know in September we discussed possibility of adding some low-maintenance landscaping, maybe some cut limestone to kind of fit in with the aesthetic here that you have in Decorah. And what you're seeing there is a rendering of what that could look like. On the left side of the screen in the center island, fairly, a standard cut block, limestone, a circle in the middle, and that allows the city to add, a monument or some sort of decorative piece in the future if they'd like to go that route. And then,
That's the
questions?
same landscaping we saw last time we saw this, right?
Correct.
Which
Yeah,
we
there's
like.
no substantial changes or anything
Okay, 'cause-
here.
Yes, yeah, I believe, yeah, Travis might have shared that with you back in
Yeah.
November, but
Yeah.
nothing's changed since then.
Okay. And I know that when we met with the school district, we talked about sort of this, sharing this kind of diagram with them, so maybe we could make some in their little places too.
So just last week, Monday, had a joint work session with the school. They're planning some landscaping just immediately to the north of
Okay.
the location, so maybe we can coordinate so that they're, they just kind of blend into each other fairly well, instead of being two completely separate, different
Yeah.
projects.
Absolutely, that's something we can talk with the design team tomorrow, so I can make a note of it.
Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really not much has changed since Travis has shared this with you, and again, on the right side would be what we're looking for the stormwater detention planting area, kind of the beautification there. With the perennials and in that stormwater detention with the gravel kind of waterways leading to, I guess I'll call it a beehive intake or an open intake to accept that water into the storm sewer system. And then kind of the low maintenance buffalo grass that's shown to the right there, that would surround that, so. And really, I think maybe if the next page is just more detail if you would like to look at what exactly the plantings might be. Just to note on that circle in the middle, it's usually about 15 foot in diameter for a future monument or some sort of beautification that the city could do there. But that's the size there. So really, that's kind of what I have for you guys today. I know, like I mentioned, in terms of location of the road and roundabout, not really much has changed. More of a refined design on the underground utilities. Some storm sewer intakes have been added and moved around just based on stormwater calcs. But really, that's what I have for you guys here. Current plan is to let this thing out or advertise it for bid in December, for bid opening in January, so we're close here. Again, a little more coordination with the school's design team will happen tomorrow, and we'll hope to get this thing out to bid soon.
What kind of questions might council have,
Quick
if
one.
any? Okay.
Thanks. I noticed in the detour planning that, a route that many residents may be tempted to take is through the parking lot here to get kind of around the area. I just curious, is staff sort of, are we gonna post a guard or barricade, or like how are we going to avoid this becoming a through route for motorists to avoid the construction zone?
That was not planned to post a guard or, we do actually have, I'm looking over at the table, Mike, do we have 1 or 2 temporary speed bumps that we could also potentially install? Yeah, so we could place those to try and eliminate or at least reduce, if cars are traveling through it as a thoroughfare, that they're at least doing it slowly.
Yeah, that's reasonable. My other question, and I didn't mean that as a joke, I'm actually like I feel like people are gonna find that route, and I think we should plan ahead and not be surprised when it happens. I guess forgot my other question, so I won't ask it. But thanks for all your work. I really appreciate the receptivity and thoughtful, sort of work that showed up in this plan along the way. Thanks.
Absolutely, thank you.
So one question I might ask, and this is almost as much as council as it is James. So the farmers market every summer is held in this general area of North Alley. And as they plan for next season, I said we might have to adjust them a little bit within the space. But James, first question to you, do you see like this entire area needing to be off limits every Wednesday afternoon, evening, and Saturday mornings during summer?
In terms of like the parking lot where
Right,
they're at?
right, correct. This general area here.
I would say that's something we can put in the plans is, hey, let's not store equipment or materials or things like that in this location. We could make that kind of an area of sensitivity if you want to call it that. But I think with what we've kind of got shown here, we should be able to maintain access, and there's going to be other areas for them to store and maintain equipment. We can highlight that in the plans. Something to talk about at the pre-con as well. But
Right.
yep.
So to council, this is more just to make sure council's all still on board with, we've got a resolution that says we have a lease agreement with the farmer's market, but we forego the lease, the actual dollar amount associated with it. Is council more or less still inclined to have the same type of arrangement as we have in the past?
Yes.
I would say I'm looking at least the location. I'm not talking about the dollar amount at this point. Just, is this location okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'll tell them that this area is not off limits to them next season. That's what I want to be able to say.
Yep.
Is that it's not off limits.
No, just so they know what's
Just
going to be
know-
going around that.
Well, they can at least get to here.
Yep, access should be able to be maintained, and it might be good to have we can add in special orange signs or direction signs saying, hey, farmer's market is still available, or farmer market traffic this way, just to let them know, because there's going to be a lot of orange signs out there and a lot going on, but letting them know that access is still maintained.
One question.
Yeah.
Your rapid crossing at Court Street,
Yeah.
would it matter if it's on the east or west side of that street?
The plan is to have both of those signs on either side.
Right, but the actual crossing for coming around the curve there, would it be advantageous to put it on the west side of Court so you got more sight line to see the rapid crossing as you're coming out of that corner?
On the west side there, just, if you want to cycle that next.
I'm trying to remember, James, if when we talked about it, yes, it improved the sight line to the east, but it decreased it to the west as vehicles were exiting the roundabout. I think it was like a bit of 6 one, half dozen the other of which one you want to put them closer to. Does that right? Or maybe it was even the queue up traffic, if you have any kind of queue up.
Yeah, and so just so I'm making sure I'm understanding the question right, so that the RFB would be activated for that north-south crossing from Court across Hively. Is your concern, you know, if you are taking a right off Court, that you're going to see that that sign, or?
My question is, as you're traveling west on Hively, and you're coming through that S curve, you come out and there's your stop. Whereas if it's on the other side of the intersection, you know, that extra, 30 feet across gives you a little bit more line of sight. That's usually traveling at a little higher rate of speed than somebody coming out of a roundabout.
Yep. You know, it's an option we could look at. The reason why we had it where it is right now is it picks up the traffic coming down Court Street, the pedestrian traffic. The speeds on this thing, I don't, and the sight lines I think are still very good as you are traveling westbound coming down, and you should be able to see that. Those signs are 7 feet plus tall, so you should still be able to see that pretty well as you come westbound.
Asking.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Well, and I would encourage ask away, and if there are desires to change plans, this really is kind of the last check before we get to the point where we set the public hearing. And anytime we make changes after setting that public hearing, we do have to back up and kind of start back over. So if there are questions within, ask away. If there are thoughts of stuff you want to change, now is the great time to do it.
I think for me, everything looks great. It'll kind of just come down to the joint meeting with the school, just to make sure that everything lines up well with them. But I have no questions. I think it looks great.
Okay. Yeah, and I could certainly update Travis and John and other city staff after the meeting here tomorrow on what the plan is for that storm sewer pipe.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good.
Very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the time.
Just think, a year from now.
Thanks again.
Okay. Consent agenda.
All right, item A, minutes of the November 17th, 2025 council meeting. B, claims. C, change order number 2, Decorah water meter replacement project. D, pay application number 4, Decorah water meter replacement project. E, accepting Decorah water meter replacement project as complete. F, Carlson Park Gateway project, pay application number 5. G, appoint Mason Hubrig to Decorah Tree Board. And H, resolution approving maintenance agreement for Twin Springs.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Just one comment is, since we have such a great community, we can actually attract great people to come, and I believe the new person that's going to be on the tree board is the DNR forest specialist.
Yeah, it's a good tree board number.
I just wanted to point it out. I just thought, wow, that's fantastic. Any other discussion?
Just a quick question on H. Is this going to be, we're taking over the management of the land at what expense?
The expense that we've mowed it and that we have in the past, it's currently a 50-year that this is actually the tail end of a 50-year.
Okay, so we are already doing
Or
this.
25-year.
Okay, all right.
So it's just the continuation of it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, roll call.
Olson,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Zittergruen,
Aye.
Chisel,
Aye.
Whittle,
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Motion carried. Consider land use agreement with Decorah Community School. Can you give background on that, please?
Sure. So during the joint work session between the city and the school district on Monday, the 24th, there was discussion on the continued consideration of community events on school property. DCSD expressed that they intend to continue to allow the community to utilize the grounds outside of the school, outside of school use. It was noted the desire to put this in writing so that this discussion could be memorialized. So the proposed land use agreement would be recorded to create a record with the land. This proposed agreement does stipulate that in addition to the continued public use of school grounds not in conflict with the school's use or its policies, that the 2011-2080 agreement with the tennis courts would be terminated. Consensus during the work session appeared to be a 2080 agreement was no longer desired to replace the current one, so this is the mechanism we're using to terminate the existing.
Mayor, I move to reconsider the, are we there yet?
Not that one
Am I
yet.
early? I'm really excited about this.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
It's okay.
I was ready to go.
Land use agreement
use agreement first?
doesn't-
All right, all right,
Doesn't
all right.
need to
All right.
reconsider.
I'd move
I thought
to
it was all gonna
approve-
be together.
I'd move to approve the agreement.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Chisel, seconded by Olson. Further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Olson?
Chisel.
Oh, sorry, Chisel,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Zittergren,
Aye.
Whittle,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Okay, now on to 8. Reconsider site plan application for Decorah Community School District. Can you give some guidance as to how to proceed with this?
Yeah, so procedurally, this is the one that we need the motion to reconsider. It can be any one of the members that voted nay at the previous meeting, which was the prevailing side. So the motion has to be made by one of those 5. The second can be anyone. So we need that motion on first, and then a vote there. Then we'll go into background on the site plan. You can reconsider the site plan.
I only made the motion last time because I thought that's what we were waiting for. I don't need to be the guy. Anyone else want that? I move to reconsider the site plan.
Second.
Motion made by Zittergren, seconded by Chisel. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Zittergren,
Aye.
Chisel,
Aye.
Whittle,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Then we go on to, let's see, what have we got?
Yep.
Okay,
So now we're on the same item.
okay.
Now it's being reconsidered. So the city's received an amended site plan included in the Dropbox packet as file 008B. Now, it's worth noting that, as talked about at the work session, they were gonna work as quickly as they could, but not necessarily have complete bid drawings done. So some of the pages haven't been updated to reflect all the changes that have been proposed. So what the council will be considering are the overall aspects. Let me grab it and share screen real quick. It'd be page 80 of the council packet, which is sheet SP 101 on the school's plan. Hopefully that comes up here.
What do you say? Is that 8C?
You're gonna pull it up, right?
Yeah, I'm trying. There it goes.
Gotcha.
Trouble
All
getting
right. So this is page 80 of the council packet, labeled as SP 101 is the overall site plan as amended. There are a couple of sheets, again, as I noted, haven't been quite updated to reflect.
This one?
What has not
No,
been, what has not been updated to reflect on the site plan? Can you,
This one.
So a lot of the, like,
Thank you.
we'll call them spec sheets, cut sheets, that show maybe typical cross sections of different areas. Those haven't necessarily been updated, but if you do go again to the like landscaping pages, which were what we focused on quite a bit. So for example, like this sheet, you can see in the background, it's still showing the angled parking stalls here in the southwest corner. And then I next page.
So when we approve.
Like this still shows the old parking layout in the northeast corner. So what I'm getting at is what council is considering are the overall aspects of SP 101. So all the rest of the pages that need updated yet would need to reflect what SP 101 is showing.
And do we need to put if a contingency that it does on?
The motion certainly could,
Okay.
just to provide further clarification. But yeah, I was just, like this page here, it's still showing the angle, but again, that's just, they haven't had time to reflect. It says civil sheets to be updated with revised background line work. So with that, I'll go back to the first page. All right, so with that, so in addition to the joint work session, the changes proposed to be made, we still have a few things that should still be considered as a contingency for any site plan consideration. So now I remember what it was I wanted to talk to John about. So we'll get there. Stay tuned, John. Site plan shows line work for a new easement on the storm sewer relocation. The city will need an easement agreement, including the description of future responsibility for cost to maintain or replace the pipe and overlaying private infrastructure. And I've got a little asterisk. The amended site plan includes HDPE pipe, which Iowa DOT standards only allow for diameters up to 48 inches. Current pipe is 54 inches. I also did have one of our local contractors call and honestly say, you're not gonna let them do that, are you? So we don't want HDPE pipe, but a consideration we could make is that if the school district wants to insist on that type of pipe, that the easement agreement says you would be responsible for any pipe failure as a result. So that's one of the contingencies that we would still put in place. We need that easement agreement, and that would define the responsibilities of both parties for the pipe as it goes through there.
Is this the time that you want to talk about the pipe? Because that is a major concern of mine.
So it would be a good time. Again, staff, we don't like the idea of HDPE.
Right.
Those lateral pressures, again, Iowa DOT standards don't allow for anything over 48. My understanding is back in the 70s that the DNR used to allow septic tanks to be made of plastic, but they were not all, but many of them were collapsing from the pressures of the soils around them. And so now you can't use those as a septic tank system because of the ground force. We just have some concerns on longevity of HDPE. Now, it does have better runoff coefficient, does allow for the pipe to clean out faster, but the structural integrity is a little bit bigger concern.
And didn't you have some examples locally where that was used? And
That was corrugated metal pipe.
Okay, sorry.
So CMP, which is what's currently there, it can work. When we do city infrastructure, though, we do concrete pipe for anything that we've done as of late, because structurally it's more sound. Corrugated metal pipe, there are a lot more examples of failure around where if you do get too much sedimentation, especially with salt, it corrodes the bottom of the pipe and you end up with pipe failure at the bottom, and it's easier to compress once you no longer have a complete circle. So that's why we like to go with concrete pipe.
So I have a couple questions now. One is, let's say we put this contingency on there. How do we know what the level of meeting the threshold would be of actually working through the stormwater stuff, right? Do we have to put a pretty...
Well, easement agreements have to be approved by the council. So that's the final check, essentially, is you'll accept an easement.
And if we don't accept the easement, then what happens to the site plan?
Well, it'd be listed as a contingency, so they have to get that easement before they can move forward with the building permit.
Okay.
So that was, again, going back to the joint work session, is there's other things that need to be worked out, even once the site plan should be, once it's approved, should the council approve it, there are other details that need to be worked out yet.
Okay, so presumably, if we were to pass the site plan tonight with the stormwater easement contingency, we would still get a chance to weigh in on the stormwater to make sure it meets what we would consider to be satisfactory before they could actually pull their permit to build.
Yeah, as long as it's not arbitrary and capricious, right?
No,
John?
no, I mean, I think it's just
John likes those words.
worrisome, and do you see that there is a, and then maybe this is a question for John, like, is there, based on what they want to do with the stormwater pipe, is there something, because it's that will work? Because I am concerned that it's all fine and good to say this is the school's problem. If their pipe floods, they flood the high school and they flood their elementary school, but that's really Decorah's problem. And so while I'd like to say it could just be confined to them, it wouldn't be. It would be a nightmare for all of Decorah.
A couple of things, comments at that end. Is this loud enough?
Yep.
Okay.
John loves the pictures.
Okay, a couple things to mention on that end. One, I will take a look at the stormwater calculations that they have. And when you have a rough wall pipe like corrugated metal pipe is, it has a higher friction coefficient so that when you put in a smooth diameter pipe, it flows quicker. So that's where the HDPE plastic pipe or the concrete pipe works better. Two, with the Hively Street Phase 1 project, we just took off about 20 acres worth of watershed off of the loading of that pipe. So we have a lot less water running through that pipe to get ultimately to the pond. So that works to some advantage there. Three, and probably this is the most important thing, when you have a rain event of 1 inch or something of that nature, you're going to have water flowing through and cleaning out the bottom of the pipe for the most part. When the pond fills up, you can throw all the hydraulic calculations out the window because that's acting like a block, and you're essentially having a reservoir inside of your pipe. You're going to get some sedimentation on that. What I have to look at is use sound engineering judgment as much as just looking at the straight numbers that will be calculated there. And what we have right now, you're talking about 0.17% to 0.14%. Your pipe slope is going to change so imperceivably slightly. There's going to be some change, yes, but it's not going to be a dramatic change. I think you can make it work. I think that the main thing is that you want to have a solid structured pipe in there to avoid any sort of potential for collapse and reduce that maintenance from the top side. You're always going to have some sediment and sand in the bottom. And that pipe that's currently running through there with about 60 acres of watershed on it does have about 3 inches of sand in the bottom of it. And you'll probably always have that to some extent. And I think what you'll find is that the water will continue to flow through that pipe system out to the pond and have provide effective service for the draining of the community on a long-term basis, and just as it has done for the last half century and so on like that. So I think, in my opinion, right now, without investigating their numbers thoroughly, and we'll get into that with James and McClure tomorrow, I think that we're going to be having something that has a workable solution moving forward.
Okay.
And I'm confident that we can come up with something that will be satisfactory, hopefully, to both parties.
And that pipe is also used to drain the site, correct? Only because it's got way more impermeable surface on it than it used to, in terms of the building. But I didn't know if there were any additions to the building that are collecting some of that rainwater off the roof? Okay.
Patrick's on the call, so invite him to respond.
Patrick, you didn't hear, but Tim just said that you were on the call and you might be able to respond to that question, but he didn't think so.
Perhaps could she, did he get the question? Okay.
Well, no, I was actually just saying I know you've got the retention ponds on site, which probably helps negate some of the size of the roof. I'm just seeing if, the impermeableness of the roof and the amount of stormwater coming off of there is going to change how much water would be in that pipe normally. Okay.
All right, so that's one of the contingencies that was noted on the first time and still would be recommended again for this go. Number 2, site plan shows a portion of the north parking lot. This is the old one. Portion of the parking lot extended to the current right-of-way on the northeast side. That has been removed. However, there is a small portion, and this is, John and I were just sidebarring on best way to address this. There's a small portion of the right-of-way that still catches the northeast corner of the tennis courts. There are a couple ways we could do it. The easiest would actually be if the two parties can agree to a replat, and we simply establish a new right-of-way and a new parcel line. But grab my.
You're talking about where the line cuts through the tree?
This far northeast corner of the tennis courts, this is technically right-of-way. Right-of-way right here. And so this, we could both potentially agree to a replat and get that out of the right-of-way as well. So that's one solution. Go back to notes.
Or just make that one tennis court a pickleball court or something.
It already is.
Just
They
joking.
got
Just joking.
6 of
Just
them here.
joking. Just joking.
6 of them shown.
Right.
But that has been the case on that corner for the last, how many years? So,
Yeah, is this,
Well, tennis courts aren't there right now, but
that's
yeah,
true.
Patrick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Correct. So they've got a replat to join all the parcels into one big one, so we could tack onto that and change these right-of-way lines.
Can I add something to this?
John Yelly is talking in the microphone now, Patrick.
Yeah, if we're talking about the replatting of this particular corner for the site plan, the whole intersection could use the platting to square up the intersection of Claiborne and State Street, because going away from the original arc that was in there to the more traditional, or what's existing in there with the T intersection.
Yep.
Travis, are you looking for council feedback right now, or do you want to finish background?
If we want to go one at a time, that seemed to be how we were doing it.
Sure.
So,
I think that this seems like a reasonable replatting, as long as staff doesn't have any objections or, essential need for that right of way in the future.
we'll make sure all utilities remain the right of way, so we don't
It
do
seems to
that.
make sense to me. Yeah.
All right. Let's see, item 3, sections of frontage sidewalks straddle the right-of-way line at various locations. So sidewalk easements on private property shall be conveyed to the city to allow public access. There are also telecommunication lines under the sidewalk on the north side. That easement should also include telecommunications. excuse me. 4, we've talked about this with the stormwater management plan and the pipe, the conveyance properties for the 54-inch storm sewer. We'll be working on that with their team, but still should be listed as a contingency because it does not currently include description of maintenance for on-site detention or the high school pond. So they need to add that as well.
I'd like to see in that hopefully a maintenance agreement where if we have the equipment, but they are reimbursing the city if there's maintenance. Is that what are you thinking in terms of maintenance for that pipe?
Well, I'm thinking more, actually, it's more their
replacement.
underground. So they have 2 underground detention cells that are rock chambers essentially to make sure that they maintain their properties. I'm not an engineer, not gonna pretend to understand how that works, but they need to say how they're gonna make sure it still works in the future. In addition to the pond, so you get a lot of silt sedimentation. If that's part of the stormwater management, which it is for that whole site and adjacent property, that needs to be part of the maintenance plan as well. So how are they going to maintain it?
Okay.
Item 5, this is more a notation. Fire hydrants, private fire hydrants are not shown on the site plan, and that if the state fire marshal regulations and state building code require any, they should coordinate with the city water department for material standards, as well as anything that needs to be adopted as a city water main or sewer needs to be built to our standards. 6 and 7 are just catch-alls where all signage must be approved by the zoning administrator with a sign permit, and 7 is applicant is responsible for obtaining all necessary building permits.
And they are planning to put a fire hydrant on the site?
Do you have a private one on the southeast side of the building?
I thought in one of our conversations.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
They said that last time.
All right, so those were the 7 listed in the city engineer's letter. P&Z recommended contingent upon items 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 that were listed above. If you wanted to still list 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 as contingencies, they are all still applicable to some degree, but item 1, it's no longer parking lot in the right-of-way, or excuse me, not 1, 2. There's no longer parking in the right-of-way, but we do need to clear up as part of that replatting process to get that tennis court and right-of-way lines squared off.
Well, I'd move for approval of the amended site plan with the 5 contingencies listed as discussed.
Second.
Motion made by Chisholm, seconded by Olson, including contingencies as listed
Weren't there,
And discussed.
and discussed.
were there, if I remember right from our meeting last Monday, but I didn't write them down, there was a contingency about some kind of language, and I feel like, Steve, you brought it up. I don't know if that was related to the plantings, the sign,
I think maybe you're thinking of the site plan, the kind of agreement regarding the signage that would be posted and that we would memorialize the agreement. So the staff's solution to that, I think, was that agreement that
the 28.
we're gonna memorialize and connect to the title. Is that kind of how we're doing it?
Yes.
So that would be pending the school board also accepting it, I think. But that certainly met my concerns in terms of my point was just that elected bodies often change over, and there's value to documenting what we've agreed on so that future bodies have it to lean on. And I think that's been done as part of this process.
Right, but the school board has not approved the 2080 agreement, so do we need to make this contingent on that, or?
Well, I gotta be careful about the way I said it. I've been told sometimes my delivery falls flat. But I wouldn't be overly concerned about that because this is also the mechanism that terminates the existing 2080 on the tennis courts from 2011.
Okay.
So if they don't vote it, that 2080 agreement's still in place, which is valid through September of 2026.
Okay.
And it may be that we need to discuss further this, if the school board has big objections, like that's the process. But I think it's a good first stab, and it seems to reflect the conversations we had last week.
And I do want to add, this has certainly been worked through from the staff level. Their attorney was heavily involved in the drafting of this, so I would certainly hope that the school board wouldn't necessarily take issue with stuff that's been worked through with staff and legal counsel.
And I thought the sort of concessions both ways were really reasonable. I certainly appreciated the school's desire that, school uses take precedent even during non-school hours. That makes a lot of sense. So it seems like it reflects really well the spirit of our conversations last week.
I just want to take a minute to thank the school board and Superintendent Cronin for getting that meeting together last week. I think it was a very cordial, very productive meeting. I think both sides made concessions, went both ways, and I think we got a lot of work done, and I appreciate you guys having set that up and getting that going.
I'll layer on with thanks to Patrick, to all the other people who worked a lot during a holiday weekend to keep this thing from falling any farther behind schedule and absolutely necessary, and again to both Tim and Travis for their leadership in getting the officials in the room talking to each other and finding a way to move forward quickly. So I'm excited about this plan. I think that. The changes that were made are minor and have created some really great improvements to public accessibility, to use, to access to surrounding parking, and to a whole host of other things. So I'm glad for the changes, and I think they're going to make for a stronger site, not just for the school, but for the whole community. I'm excited to see it.
I'll keep my comments short as well. I think obviously it's been a rough month and a half of thinking about how to get this thing done. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who has felt the pressure as a public official and sort of both sides that Decorah sometimes lines up on, of maybe feeling like we're in one court or another. But I think this was an issue in which we were actually all on the same side. We all wanted to see a downtown school, and we obviously have different lenses of who we represent as constituents and the things that we have to keep an eye out for. I want to commend our city manager and our city engineer for their work in looking at the site plan and making sure that, this was the best site plan in terms of infrastructure for the city, and making sure that as a board, we were able to represent what I'd say the resiliency plan for Decorah and recognizing the importance of multimodal transportation. And making sure that vision carried over to the school board's mission and vision of providing a state-of-the-art elementary school for young learners. And while, on the surface, those things didn't seem to butt heads, maybe in the initial site plan they did, but I think that we have worked hard to come up with a site plan that is, as Steve said, better than it was. And so for that, I appreciate it. Yeah, so thanks to all the parties involved. I do feel like we probably haven't delayed the schedule, but yet we've let the process work, and the process is there for this very reason. So thanks, everybody.
Okay. Roll call.
Chisel.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Whittle.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Olson.
You didn't get me.
Oh, Zittergood. Sorry.
Aye.
Fantastic. On behalf of all the kiddos that are going to be looking forward to even seeing a shovel put in the ground there, knowing they're going to have a new school, I just agree with the sentiments that were put forth and the hard work that's been done with this, and we'll look forward to the future that way. Thank you very much. Consider amending City Code Section 12.52.270 regarding parking of semi-trailers or semi-tractors. And this is the second reading.
happens every time, just as we're about to get good.
Should we talk about budgets? Let's talk about budgets. Nothing clears a room faster than budget.
So this proposed ordinance, again, is a result of the discussion largely on Military Boulevard with the semi-parking, with staying at the hotel there. So the proposed ordinance allows, while it still prohibits parking citywide for semi-trailers and semi-tractors, it does allow for the council to approve by resolution exceptions to this, that we would then post that it allows that parking. And in addition, if the council wanted to say it's by permit only, that could be included in the resolution. Permit doesn't have to have a fee or anything associated with it. It could be simple as you need to have a permit and we authorize Country Inn and Suites to issue you one. But this is the ordinance that sets up the framework for that resolution.
I'd move for approval of the second reading.
Second.
Motion made by Chisel, seconded by Olson. Have you had any comment at all?
Nope.
Any further discussion?
I just want to put a marker down that if we're ever rebuilding that road, I don't think it needs to be that wide anymore. And that if we're temporarily allowing semis to park on one side of it, you know, while it's that wide, while we have the space to do it, that's fine. But I really want to be clear that I don't see us as setting a precedent here, and that we shouldn't ordinarily be ensuring that semis can park on the sides of our roads. Like, we're not committing to doing this forever, is what I'm trying to say.
Roll call?
Chisel,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Zittergruen,
Aye.
Whittle.
Aye.
Motion carried. For the second reading.
That's the second reading, correct?
Okay. Board of.
Can I make a motion to waive and adopt?
Okay. Is that possible?
Yep.
Even
You
with
can get
one, even with one council?
As long
Okay.
as you still have 6.
As long as
Okay.
it's unanimous.
I'd make a motion to waive and adopt.
Second.
Motion made by Neal, seconded by Zinnegrun to waive and adopt. Roll call?
Neal,
Aye.
Zittergruen,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Chisel,
Aye.
Whittle.
Aye.
It's the
Motion
holiday
ca-
season. I just wanted to get something off the agenda.
Motion carried. Board and commission vacancies, Decorah Human Rights. Anything else tonight?
Everybody left before I could share. I was shoveling the second time on Saturday, and I had a neighbor stop me and say, "Hey, I just want to say thank you." I looked at him, I said, "For shoveling out the crosswalk?" No, for everything you guys have got going on, whether it's the athletic complex or the compromise on the school site plan. I didn't want to share it earlier in case I didn't want to jinx anything. But I said, "Oh, thank you. You just got to be more specific because we're not used to hearing thank you, especially during a snow event like Saturday." So
Did you mark it on the
just wanted
calendar?
to share that.
Did you mark a comment on your
Right?
calendar?
Well, you bet I did.
It is
Okay.
really what I was thinking at the beginning, right? When you think of the lift of this year, what all city staff has put into Decorah.
That's for sure.
It's phenomenal. And I hope you guys, I can't wait to celebrate you, honestly. So thank you all
That's-
for all the
that's-
work that you're doing.
I agree.
So much passion in the city. It's amazing.
I'll second that motion.
You mean it's not like this every year?
No. Please no.
Okay, no. Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you very much.
Ooh.